Hello everybody, this is All Sport ABP with some good news for the Bangladesh fans. Of course, it was a popular opinion that the Bangladesh fans were really disliking the presence and the performance of the Bangladesh football team head coach Javier Cabrera, and his contract was supposed to end at the end of April 2026, and the Bangladesh Football Federation have announced that they won't renew the contract with the Spaniard, which means that the Cabrera era is formally over. Or is it? That is the question. Well, the news that came from the Bangladesh Football Federation, the official statement actually mentioned that they won't renew the contract with Javier Cabrera, but on the other hand, they said that they'll request for the new head coach role. They'll prepare the scope of work, and they'll prepare the request to invite the potential candidates for this role, and Cabrera is actually invited to also apply, and if he can compete with the others, he might still get the job. So it's kind of like you're not sacking someone, you're just not extending his contract, but now you're creating a situation where he actually can come back if his CV seems to be more feasible, suitable compared to the other coaches that have applied for the job. It's a very sticky spot, and the fans are not happy about it, that I can tell you. So whatever the situation is, Bangladesh will try to take a new turn, will try to turn a new leaf in their progression in world football. And for the senior men's team, we're probably looking at a new head coach that will be coming in. But the discussion point is not only regarding, whether Cabrera will be the best man to be coming back once again. Will the Bangladesh Football Federation even consider that? Because probably they are considering it, or else they wouldn't have even kept this option open that the former coach whose contract they're not renewing, there has to be a reason why they're not renewing it. So that's the issue over there. I mean, if they don't like his performance, if they're not happy with his performance, if his performance assessment gives out that he is not suitable for the Bangladesh team at the moment, why is he even allowed to apply one more time? That is the big question. Anyways, if we're turning into a new leaf, if we're looking for new managers, will Bangladesh look for another astute, high-profile European licensed coach that they've tried to look for in the previous occasions? We've seen Jamie Day doing a job for Bangladesh. We've seen Oscar Bruzon, who was actually the head coach of Basuന്ധরা Kings, taking interim responsibility of the senior team, and then we've seen Javier Cabrera as well. So overall, I think the situation that Bangladesh find themselves at is that they've got quite a few years of bringing in foreign coaches who came in and probably did not perform as well as expected. And Bangladesh now at the moment, with the influx of all these origin players led by the magnificent Hamza Chowdhury, will look to have some sort of quality in terms of who they want to bring in. It just cannot be a random name. So here, I think Bangladesh could look around and see what the other countries are doing to develop their football, and to see what happens if you try and go a different route. Yes, I'm talking about India, of course. We've seen India, who started the AFC Asian Cup qualification campaign with the Croat. They got this head coach from Croatia, and he wasn't performing at the optimum level, and there were issues not regarding just his tactics but also his team selection, the way that he wants the team to play, and probably this wasn't a very good marriage. He did not properly understand the culture, and through that I think he struggled throughout his tenure, and which is why he was not kept at the realm. And just in the middle of the qualification process, India actually made a change in their head coach position, and in comes Indian Khalid Jamil, local boy. Of course, he was a player in his playing days, and then when he started his coaching, he was actually the first and only Indian head coach to lead a side to a ISL championship. So he actually has all the credentials that you need to probably lead your senior men's national team as well, and he was given the responsibility for India, and currently he's still working. So where India walked away from the foreign head coach ideology, or trying to find a big name or some complicated name that has no relationship with the Indian football culture, but he'll just come and try and see what happens. Until or unless it's someone really credible, it's not very easy to actually justify who you're bringing in and how would he fit into the culture of the country's football in total. So what happens in Bangladesh is that, of course, there was Javier Cabrera, but look at his support staff. They were all from Bangladesh. There was one other foreigner in the team as well, but of course the other coaches, the keeping coaches, the forward coaches, the assistant coaches and all, they were all from Bangladesh. And ultimately, if a new manager comes in for Bangladesh, of course, if it's from somewhere in Europe, if it's from outside the country, they'll again have to think about who the supporting staff would be, because the failure or success of the team, yes, you can entirely pin it on the manager, the head coach, but in the end it also reflects badly on the coaching staff, and that has to be looked at properly from Bangladesh's perspective, from the Football Federation's perspective. They need to look at how to revamp the entire coaching staff for the Bangladesh senior men's national team, not just the head coach position. And I think the route that India have taken, they've gone with Khalid Jamil, and they've gone with a homegrown guy who understands the culture, who understands the people, who understands the footballing infrastructure in India, and who understands the limitations mostly, and would actually probably in a national team setup try and find ways to pragmatically give you results that will get you up the ladder in terms of FIFA rankings. And probably India definitely want to go towards the Asian Cup, want to go to the World Cup. That's the ambition. That's the ambition of Bangladesh as well. So we'll have to try and think, do we actually need a foreign coach if we're giving him all the local staff as his assistants anyway? Can we go for a very high profile Bangladesh coach? Is there anyone available that we could give as the senior men's team's head coach, and try and see if he can, drive this progress that Bangladesh apparently want to have moving towards a brighter future? We've heard from the under-20 SAF winning coach, Mark Cox, who's also a foreigner once again. He's been brought in to assist the under-20 men's national team. He actually said that Bangladesh might target to play the World Cup in Saudi Arabia in 2034. And that brought up a smile in my face. I'm really not digging that, to be honest. The place where we're at, the position that we're at, 8 years' time and Bangladesh are playing a World Cup, I don't think that's a very realistic presumption. Unless there's something huge happening, some huge investments coming in, the club structure suddenly looking very good, or Bangladesh take a U-turn and totally focuses on origin players, make a squad of 23, all of them probably playing everywhere else other than in Bangladesh, and maybe try to use their individual qualities to qualify for a big tournament like the Asian Cup or the World Cup, to be precise. So that's something that Bangladesh Football Federation will have to think as well. But as India have shown, they've actually gone with foreigners, hasn't worked, and now they're sticking to one of their own. Can Bangladesh also go the same route? Will they also consider anyone local to be the head coach of this new look Bangladesh senior men's national side? That is a question to be answered. But in the end, if Cabrera comes back, that would really be so ironic. And I'm sure we'll see the eruption from the fans of Bangladesh. They really don't want this to happen. And I hope the Bangladesh Football Federation is hearing us out, hearing them out, and they won't make the same mistake twice. Of course, do comment and let us know whether Bangladesh should actually go the India route and look for a local coach to probably gel the team better, or should they go for a very high-profile foreign coach one more time and check out whether his tactics and his thought process will be a match with the current footballing structure of Bangladesh? Or will they get Cabrera back and say that, the SAF is so near, so we need to find someone who is habituated to working in this working environment, so let's have Cabrera back on a new contract? That would really be the worst option. I really don't think they should take that. Anyways, see you next time, and thanks for watching. Subscribe to All Sport ABP English. Stay tuned for the next one.